everyone, Paul ISM. Welcome to another build video, I suppose it is. So, before we get started today, have a little watch of this.
So, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the little bell notifications, get notified of all our latest videos. Click the like button and leave a comment. I do read and reply to all the comments and appreciate everybody that takes the time to leave a comment on the channel. And of course, if you scroll up in the description, there's a link to a big long list of all the items I use in my videos. So if you see anything, you should be able to find it in there.
Right, so over the last few months, I've been watching a few YouTube channels, Sideways King 75 and Matchbox Garage, who take old Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars that have been played with, neglected, mistreated. They strip them, repaint them, and bring them back to life. Now, I've watched this thinking, that looks really interesting, something I'd really like to do, and I thought, let's do it. So I went out, bought a couple of brand new Hot Wheels cars with the idea of I'll use these, take these to bits, strip them, paint them, practice on them before we progress on to, older cars. Maybe in me, that didn't happen. I did buy them, they're there. Instead, I went on eBay. I bought a 70s Capri Mark 1 and a 1982 Audi Quattro, and decided I'm going to do the Quattro first. So it's an older an older toy car that we're going to completely take to bits, strip, repaint, refurbish, and get it to look as good as possible. So let's jump straight in. We'll have a look around the car I bought, and then begin the process of restoring it.
Okay, so this will be our car we're going to refurb today. It's a Matchbox 1982 Audi Quattro. As you can see, it's a little bit beaten up and battered. Paintwork's taken some chips. The glass is scratched to hell. There's a lot of deep scratches, surface scratches, discoloration. There's a chip in one corner. The wheels are, well, they've been well played with, let's say that. Chassis is fairly clean underneath, as you can see. 982 158 Audi Quattro from Matchbox, Lesney, England. We've only got the one post to remove on this one. It's held on by a tab on the back. So we're going to drill at the centre and then drill at the edge to remove the chassis from the car. And then we're going to tap our 2mm screw hole for our screw. I've got my Proxxon multi-tool with a little 1.8mm drill bit. Now, I thought this might have the guts to do it. Sadly, didn't quite have the torque to drill into the metal. So after a few attempts, it did drill in there a little bit, but just didn't quite have the guts to get right into the die cast. So yeah, time to go for the big guns. Grab the 18-volt Makita instead, which is a little bit over-gunning, but it's all I've got to hand. So that's what we've got. Here we go, there's the 18-volt Makita, and this makes a much quicker job of it. Taking it nice and slow and steady. We don't want to go too far in. Now, I've moved camera angles. Sadly, it's not the best camera angle for seeing what we're doing, but you kind of get the gist, because all we're doing is drilling into the centre of that body post. So once we're happy we're deep enough in, we get a larger one. So I haven't gone straight up to the larger size yet. I've just gone up a step in size. Now we've gone to a bigger one, and with a couple of twists, there we go. Job done. That's that drilled out. There's the chassis off. Get rid of all the swarf. Chassis off. No problem at all. Look inside. As I said, it's the first time I'm taking one of these to bits, so I've got no idea what to expect. There's our glass, our interior. Everything's intact, thankfully. And there's our body and our body post. So we're going to use Makita again. Careful, these are vicious. And drill into the body post deep enough for a 5mm screw. So we've got our 1.8mm metal bit. And we're just taking it slow, stopping occasionally to have a look. We don't want to go right the way through. Once we're happy with that, we're adding a little bit of lube. It's actually airbrush lube, but it'll do the job just perfectly for this. A little dab of lube, and we've got our M2 tap that we're going to slowly tap out the thread for our 2mm machine screw, at the end. So just taking our time, get it started. Nice and slow. We're going half a turn, and then a full turn, and then taking it back out. clean off any metal we've taken out, and just keep repeating this until we get the full depth we require. So just nice and slow, screw it back on to remove the resistance, and then we give it another turn, and then back it out and clean it off again. And just take our time doing this. Again, it's the first time I think I've ever used a tap and die set, to be honest, as well. I don't think in my life I've ever found the need to use one. So again, a first for me as well. So we're just screwing it home by hand, and then getting the final few turns in there until we're happy that we're deep enough that it'll hold our 5mm long, 2mm wide machine screw when we put the body back together later on. Like I said, just take your time if you're doing this. There's no rush. The last thing you want to do is snap off that bit inside your hole. Just clean it out, tap it out, wipe off the bit as you go. Don't throw it on the floor like that or the table. And just slowly work your way all the way down as deep as you need to go. So if you feel any force, just back it off a touch. As soon as you feel force, just give it a turn, back it back out, it's done. And there we go. That wasn't too bad, pretty simple really. Take your time, just keep backing off, clean it out, and job done. So chassis, so let's take the wheels off. Nice simple job on this. Just a piece of clamped sprung metal there. We've got some aftermarket wheels that we're going to add to this with new axles as well. I got these off eBay, they were £5 a set. I'll put the link in the description down below. Got lots of different designs. So we're just going to have a little test fit. So as you can see, they are going to need some modifications later on, but we'll deal with that near the end of the video. I'm just testing these for now to see just how they look. So just push fit them on. They're a little bit fiddly. You may find you need to get a pair of nippers and just grip the axle and push it down with a little bit more force. Once you're happy, give them a little bit of test. So we'll figure out the width they need to be later on. I just want to test them in place, see what they look like, make sure they're the right size for the car and that they don't look too odd. So a little bit of a test fit to begin with. What we did notice is the ride height needs lowering for sure. These are slightly smaller wheels, so the car is sitting a little bit high, and they are thinner wheels as well, so we are going to have to put some bushes / spaces in there at the end to keep them centralized in the body. But they look good. So this is the body as is, as you can see. There's quite a bit of paint loss, chipping, bit of damage here and there. Same with underneath, just where it's been played with over the years. It's a 38-year-old model car, toy car, so it's going to show some marks. We've got some paint and varnish remover from B&Q. And a tub to put it in. I picked this tip up from one of the guys on YouTube. I think it was Matchbox Garage uses this stuff. Or it might have been Sideways King. Actually, it was Sideways King 75. I do apologise. So, I thought, I'm not going to put it all in for now. Let's just see what happens. Now, after this video is done, I've now put it in a old glass jar. And it's much better, much safer. But obviously, again, like I say, the first time I've done this. So for me, it's all a learning curve. I was just seeing, how do I do this? Do I put it all in? Should I chuck it all in? And what my plan here was to put it in, put the box on an angle, and leave it be. But as you'll see in a minute, I add a bit more, then more again, until everything's covered. So obviously make sure you got gloves on for this, because it is pretty aggressive paint stripper. It's not the worst. So my protection's worthwhile as well. And anything you're using, either clean later on when you're done, or throw it away in the bin. But gloves are a definite essential part of this. And I would say a respirator too, just to be doubly safe and some eye protection. So this was the plan. I thought, yeah, if I leave it in there, that should do fine. And then I thought, no, I'll add a bit more. There we go, that's loads, that'll do us. Perfect, and I put the lid on. And then 2 minutes later I thought, you know what? Let's chuck a load more in instead. And there we go. A whole load in there. Like I say, afterwards it's all in a glass jar now, so it'll be much easier next time. And there we go, more again. So we've put very nearly all of it in, not quite. Like I say, it's now in a glass jar. It's all in there. It'll be much easier for next time. But yeah, there we go. So we'll pop that in there. We'll pop the lid on. We'll put that to one side for an hour or so. Make sure the lid's snapped on. Make sure anything you spilled, you clean up as well. So we've got some Ultimate Modern Products airbrush cleaner now. And we're going to clean up our interior. And give our glass part a quick spruce up as well. So we've just got an old brush. We're just going to brush it all over. And clean off any gunk or dirt that's accumulated over the last 38 years. It's pretty clean inside, to be fair. Very, very basic interior. As you can see, we are getting a bit of muck off it. So you could use hot soapy water should you wish. This is where I had a hand. Our cleaner is very, very good. And it's perfect for jobs like this. Hence why I chose it. And just run it around with the brush. And then give it a little bit of a wipe off rinse at the end. And that will get all of that dirt and gunk off there. Do exactly the same to the glass as well. Just to clean up as much muck and dirt as we can. As you can see, this isn't all that bad. But just being thorough with the job. Okay, the glass, as you can see, the glass is rather badly marked. It's scratched, faded. It doesn't look the best at all. So we're going to give this a little bit of a clean up with the airbrush cleaner again. And then we're going to give it a good polish up. Sand, polish, and a dip in some aqua gloss later on to try and bring some life back into it. I'll be honest, I've never really attempted to bring plastic back this badly scratched and marked, so I didn't really hold out all that much hope. But I was quite surprised with the result at the end, to be fair. So we've got a UMP, Ultimate Modern Products 240 Thinny Sponge. Now this is quite aggressive, and I thought it's probably the best bet for removing those really deep scratches and gouges on the front and rear part of the screen. So we're just lightly going over it. There's no real pressure. Let the tool do the job, let the sander do its work. And we're just lightly sanding away until we get rid of all those scratches. Now we've got the 1200 side of our 240 1200 sander. So a lot more of a less aggressive sander to polish that up. And then we've got our buffer to buff it up. And then the white side will polish it up as good as we can. So with the major scratches gone, we now come in with some 6000 micro mesh used wet. I'm just going to go through all the grits from 6, work on our way up to 8000, which you're going to see in a second. So there's the 8000 now. Like I say, make sure it stays wet each time. And again, going from one side to the other, we don't crisscross on this. We want to minimize the scratches. And then finally 12,000. This is a very, very fine cushioned sandpaper. As you see, we are avoiding the molded in windscreen wipers. Now we've got some Novus fine scratch remover. This is a very good polish. We've got a little bit on a cotton bud, which we just put onto the screen, and then we've got our prox on again with a buffing wheel. And again, using it ever so slightly wet. We're just going over all the glass from front to back, inside and out. Don't let it heat up, as it will melt the plastic. As you see, we're onto the sides now. Well, again, we're not applying any real pressure. Just let the little polishing wheel do its job and the polish. And as you can see, there we go, all polished up. So we've got some Alcalad Aqua Gloss. We've got as good a finish as we can on that glass work, and we're just going to dip it in the Aqua Gloss. Bring it out, remove all the excess, and let it dry for a day or so. Now, this is an old trick used by modelers for years, using floor polish Pledge was the common one. Aqua Gloss is a more modern version of Pledge, and I think it's a bit more of a reliable product. As you can see, just get rid of any excess drips and collections of Aqua Gloss. It's a much more reliable product, so that's my choice. So there we go, we covered it up, we put it to one side, and let that dry overnight. Now, back to our body and the paint stripper. So it's been about an hour, and as you can see, the stripper has worked fantastic. Now in hindsight, I should have taken it out of the paint stripper before I started to remove the paint, but it was easier to let it fall in there than have a mess everywhere. And as you can see, the strippers worked absolutely fantastic. So much so, I now name the stripper Roxy. As you can see, the paint is just falling off. Fantastic stuff. So once we've got the majority off inside, we've now got a few layers of kitchen paper. And we're just going to methodically go around with our soft brusher to begin with and get rid of as much of the loose stuff as we can. And then we've got our toothbrush. So get everything out from inside as well and start being a little bit more aggressive. And on the exterior. Get rid of any remnants of old paint. Once we're happy, put it in some clean water, give the toothbrush a good rinse off, and then give it a rinse all over with the toothbrush. This will get any last remnants of paint off and start to get the rest of the paint stripper off. And then we run it a cold tap, dry it off, and this is what we're left with. So as you can see, pretty clean, all the paint's gone. You did a fantastic job. So thanks for a recommendation from Sideways King. It's worked absolutely fantastic. I'm very, very happy with that. So we're now going to use 1200 micro mesh. We're going to use it dry, and we're going to go around and lightly scuff up / buff up the the die cast metal. So this is just get rid of any slight surface imperfections that there are, and giving us a good key for our primer later on, just to make sure we can get the best possible finish. Now I know a lot of the guys like to use a wire wheel, but I don't think this needed it personally. I didn't want the metal everywhere. And as you can see, once it's been gone around the micro mesh, it's come up pretty well. It's looking a lot better. So happy enough with that. So to mount this, I've used a micro brush. We've cut the top off and we have literally screwed it into the post we tapped out before. Nice and secure. To prime, we're going to use Tamiya's pink fine surface primer, which I've decanted into a bottle. And thinned about 10% with Tamiya lacquer thinner retarder. We've got the Ultimate Apex airbrush. We're at 18 psi, and we're going to start laying down our primer as we go. Nice thin coats to begin with, and we'll build it up as we go, including the interior, under all the wheel arches, every nook and cranny we're going to coat of this. And we're probably going to lay down about 2 or 3 good coats of the Tamiya primer. So I decant these out the can. If you go back through the channel, and if I remember, you'll find a video on the channel for decanting the rattle cans. If you click on the description of this video, there's a link that takes us to all the products I use in these videos, and there is a link in there to the video, and it'll show you how to safely decant the paint for use in the airbrush. So there we go, that's after about our 3rd coat, I think it is. So 3 light coats, built up lovely. We've got a nice pink primer. So our chassis, again, paint stripped. I didn't show because it was exactly the same process as before. But now we've got the Tamiya grey surface primer. We're going to give this 3 coats as well. Again, getting all the insides, wheel arches, the gaps, everywhere, from every angle. Give it 3 nice even coats. Make sure we don't get any fluff or dust in there. Got our interior. Again, we're going to give this a prime with the Tamiya lacquer primer again. Nice even coats, not flooding it on, not getting too much paint, just building up slowly as we go. And once we're happy, 3 coats later, all nicely primed. So the reason for priming in pink, we're going to paint this LP21, which is Tamiya lacquer paint. We're going to use LP1 gloss on the chassis, and we're going to use LP5 semi-gloss black on the interior. These are all thinned with the Tamiya lacquer thinner retarder, about 60 to 70% thinner to paint. So what I mean by that is if you've got 10ml of paint, 4ml of it is paint, 6ml of it is the thinner. It's quite thin, it's lacquer paint. It is very, very good and forgiving to use, and that's what we're going to use in this model. So the pink primer will help the red cover a lot quicker, and it will also make that red colour really pop. It's a common trick. Red and yellow are both great. Pink and yellow are both great for red. And like I say, we're going to get this 4 or 5 very light coats inside and out, same as before with the primer, getting all those nooks and crannies in the wheel arches all over. Very, very good paint. Now, because it's lacquer paint, there are some safety precautions. Make sure you've got a good extractor, a respirator on, you're wearing gloves. Take care of your lungs, you know, the only pair you get. So, yeah, a little bit of personal protection is worth it. So, yeah, I've got a decent spray booth. I wear gloves, I've got a respirator. So, yeah, take care of yourselves. Again, if you're looking for any airbrushes, paint, etc., click the description of the video. There's a big long list of products with everything I use in these videos. Airbrushes, paints, the medicine cups, even the kitchen paper. Everything is in that list. You'll find it very useful. So like I said, we're going to give this 4 or 5 light coats, build up our colour so we get a nice deep lustrous red. It's a beautiful colour, this LP21. There we go, I think we're on coat number 4 now. One thing I've noticed, we've been used to 24 scale models, the Matchbox cars use a hell of a lot less. And there we go, the coat number 5 with a nice glossy red finish. Onto our interior, so this is dried now, and we're going around with Tamiya LP5 semi-gloss black, and we're going to give this 2 or 3 coats until it is fully covered. Again, make sure we get all those angles, recesses, and anywhere that can be seen underneath or from outside the car itself. As you can see, we've got really nice coverage there, so no problem there at all. And our chassis as well. Again, the LP1 gloss, exactly the same as the others, and again we're going to build this up slowly. Being a gloss, they can take a little bit of time building up, a little bit thinner coats, so just take your time. You don't want to hose the paint on, just build it up slowly and you'll get a much better finish. As you can see, we're going across, up and down, side to side, and making sure we get all these angles covered. So 3 light coats later, and we're our final wet coat. We're leaving about 10 minutes between each coat to dry on each of these finishes that we do. And there we go, nice gloss black chassis that we're going to leave to dry for a couple of days. So we've got orange. This is Tamiya LP, I think it's 51 orange. And we're just going to brush paint on our front indicators. Now it might not be perfectly accurate to the car. I'm just using my little bit of artistic license, I guess it is, to paint the front and rear lights. But again, just brush painting on with the lacquers. Because we're painting on lacquer, you've got to be very careful. So put it on pretty wet without running it everywhere, but don't wipe it back off or brush too hard, because it will take the paint off underneath. Do this many times, so no problem at all. On the back, we've got X27, I think it is, Tamiya Clear Red. Only because I had it at hand. It should be lacquer paint otherwise. And we're just painting in our tail lights there as well. I don't know if they're actually accurate, but that's where I thought with the tail lights, that's what we went for. I think the tail light red is actually on the boot lid, which is part of the interior. I think these should be technically indicators, but we're doing them red. It's just the way it is. It's my toy car. I'll paint it how I like. Okay, so using Tamiya LP1 to brush paint on our door handles. Just add a little bit more detail, just a bit of careful brushing will make short work of that. We then got some silver Vallejo Model Air. We can add in some detail for the exhausts underneath, just at the back there. Again, just add a little bit more visual interest to the model. Make it look a little bit more visually appealing than just a plain red exterior. Take your time, a little bit of careful brushing, and the job's done fairly easily. Off camera, we also added a Tamiya black panel line wash mixed with a little grey. And as you can see, it's added a bit more detail to all the recessed panel lines, grills and body panels, etc. And with those front rear indicators and brake lights and our red paint, it's looking the part. So, time for our clear coat. And our clear coat of choice is Gravity Colours and 2K Clear Coat. So this is a 3-part system of a gloss, hardener and a thinner. It's a mix of 3 to 1 to 1. So it's 3 parts clear, 1 mil hardener, 1 mil thinner. But we're going to go 3 to 1.5 to 1.5 on recommendation of my friend Carlos, who says it makes it dry a little bit harder, a little bit quicker. So that's 3 mil of clear to 1.5 mil of both hardener and thinner. So they're mixed every time the chemical is added. So it's clear, then the hardener, then the thinner. And then thoroughly stirred to make sure they're mixed. This gives you about 30 to 45 minutes work time, and we're going to strain the paint through a 190 micron paint strainer. This is a full-size automotive paint strainer, just to make sure there's no crud in there. Then we're going to dust off the body with our Tamiya anti-static brush to get any dust off, and we've also wet down our work surface as well. There ain't dust lands on there, it stays there. We've got our Apex 0.35 needle or a 20 psi, and we're going to add our tack coat. So that'll be a semi-wet coat all over the body. And what that does, being semi-wet, it'll tack up in 10 minutes or so, and then we come back for our wet coat. It'll allow the wet coat to stick without running as much as if it wasn't there. So what we're looking for is just a semi-gloss finish, not full, we're not hosing this on yet. We don't want it to run. But just a nice semi-gloss finish all round. Once we've got that, we can put it to one side, let it off gas for 10 minutes, and come back and do our wet coat. Now, this is a pretty nasty chemical. It is basically spraying airborne ceralacrylate or CA glue, super glue. So it is particularly nasty. I've got a full face respirator on, proper one. And it's the best protection I get without going fully air fed. I've got a good spray booth. The room is emptied after I'm done as well. I leave it to let it off gas properly. I've got double gloves on, all my skin is covered. And that respirator will not come off the entire time I am in here. So, safety precautions are paramount. Take care of yourself. Read up on 2K. If you don't think it's for you, don't use it. If you do, take as good a protection as you can. And as you see, once we've done our tack coat, put it back down, put our tub over for 10 minutes. Once that's dried and gone tacky, we can come back and add our wet coat. So yeah, please make sure you take precautions using this stuff. It's not to be toyed with at all. As hobbyists, being modelers, it shouldn't really present as much a problem as if you were spraying full-size cars every day, but still take the precautions because it is pretty nasty stuff. But, as you'll see in a minute, nothing comes close at the airbrush than 2K clear coat as a finish. It is phenomenal, and in fact we use the finish we get as our final finish. Just see in a bit. So we've got a fine line on this between flooding the finish to get our perfect clear coat and applying enough to make sure it is nice and smooth. So we don't want to put too much on, lose all our definition or our panel lines, etc. But we need to get enough down that we get an orange peel free finish. So use your light, angle it round, make sure you've got all the areas covered. It's a nice thin clear coat this, so it won't look too out of place. As you see, we've got a beautiful gloss finish already. That will self-level over the next few hours. As it cures, it'll be dust dry in 2 hours, touch dry in 24, and fully cured in 48. And again, we're going to put this down for 10 minutes and let it off gas and come back and have another look and see if we're done. Okay, so 10 minutes has rolled on by. We're going to have a little look at it. So it will have self-leveled a little bit over that time. And what we're looking for, using our light in the booth again, just look on all different angles, looking for orange peel. As long as we're nice and smooth all around, that's our job done. It looks good to me. Can't see any orange peel at all. Got a nice smooth glossy surface all over. Like I said, it's been just dry in 2 hours, touch dry in 24, and fully cured in 48. So we're going to leave it in our plastic tub. I have another one that I put them in that has vents in the side with mesh over to stop the dust, but still allows the clear coat to off gas over time. So we've got our interior. LP5 is now dried. We give it a wash with a grey Tamiya panel liner. And we're just removing the excess of a cotton bud and some odourless mineral spirits. We've got our wheels temporarily in place. We're just going to fit them, put our body on. Place it down, have a look. And as I thought, the ride height is a little high. So we are going to lower it, as I thought. So we'll pop it back off and get to work on that. So this is our glass. Turned out absolutely fantastic. I never dreamt that we'd get this glass this good. All that polishing and cleaning and the dip in aqua gloss really worked well. It got rid of most of the scratches. It's not perfect by a long shot, but it's a lot better than I ever thought it could be. So very, very happy with that. We get our interior in. It just pushes in from the back and clicks in the front. I'm just making sure we're all lined up correctly. Because like I say, first time doing this. Never taken one of these things apart before. So just making sure we get it right. So push it down and the grille clicks into the front with our headlights and the back. Make sure it's all fully in place. And there we go. Glass looks superb. Very, very happy with that glass. Yeah, it's looking good. So our suspension. My idea was to temporarily use this plastic stick off a Tamiya cotton swab as a tester to see how much lowering would affect it and what it would look like. And as it turned out, as I put it in, it was the perfect height. So I thought I might as well use this rather than getting some plastic rod. It's the same kind of stuff. And this is what we'll use to lower the suspension. So what we're going to do, under the tension of that piece of sprung metal, we're going to pop these underneath the axles. That will lift them up a touch and lower the car into the arches. And like I say, just by sheer chance, this worked out to be absolutely perfect. Popping that one pinged off. And it set the ride out to the absolute perfect point. So just pushing it in while we're lifting the wheel up. As you can see, there we are. Spot on. Falls out, but we're taking the wheels off anyway because we need to put some spaces in each side. So we're going to cut some hollow plastic rod and make little bushings to go either side of the wheel. This will space them out and stop them moving from side to side. So pop them on, slide them through, pop the other one on, and then pop our wheel back on. And this will stop it sliding from side to side. And with our lowering plastic in there, there we go, perfect. So we're going to repeat the same for the front, same process, and get that ride height just where we want it. Like I say, we're just lowering the suspension with those bits of cotton bud we cut off. We're going to glue these in place. And then, like I say, we'll repeat the same for the front. And once they're secured, they'll never fall out again. Right, so there we go. There's the finishing off for the front. We're just going to test fit it and double check before we commit to glue on this. As you can see, yeah, very happy with that ride height. So we glued those in place, put our body back on. Now we've got our 2mm screw, 5mm long, 2mm width. Screw it in place, and this will screw our body fully home. And there we go. Perfect. Very happy with that. Those wheels look great. Ride height looks a lot better. And I'm really happy how that's turned out. So, let's see how this looked before. As you can see, it's a very well played with model. 38 years old, 1982. Paint's worn, scratched. The glass was heavily scratched, marked, faded. So it was a well played with models. The wheels were really battered as well. And yeah, it just needed a little bit of resurrection. And here we go. So very, very happy how this looks from the glass, which I'm astounded how well that came out. Bodywork looks good. I don't think the 2K looks too thick. I could have polished the 2K up. Could have flattened it and give it a real high shine. Perfect shine. But I thought with it being a toy car, which is what this is, I think it would have looked a little bit too shiny. So I've left it with the finish we got out of the airbrush. With those aftermarket wheels, it looks absolutely brilliant. Lowering suspension made a difference, adding the wash, painting our indicators and so on, and a few other detail parts really just adds a little bit of life to the car. And yeah, I'm really happy how this turned out. It was good fun, fairly quick to do. And yeah, we brought back a classic toy car to life. We popped it on our turntable with a obligatory little spin. And yeah, as you can see, that beautiful deep LP21 lacquer paint with the Gravity 2K clear really does shine up well. Looks very, very good. And yeah, I'm happy how it's come out. There's a few things I probably would have changed, and we'll probably do that for the next build, but for this time, really happy. So I popped it in the photo booth to get some proper pictures of it. And yeah, I'm happy how this came out. There's some areas I could have improved on. But for my first time, yeah, I think it came out well. Happy with the finish. I'll definitely be doing this again. I've got another Capri to do there. I'm going to be scouring eBay, looking for some different models that catch my eye. And I've got a couple of Hot Wheels there as well. I bought new that maybe we can just, rather than refurbing them, just modify them a little bit, change a few things. But maybe that's a case for a bit further down the line. But for now, very happy with this.
There we go then. So that's that. That was good fun. I enjoyed doing that. It was different, although kind of some of the same skills passed over from the 24 scale cars to this. Glad to see the gravity wasn't too thick and it didn't look out of scale, didn't fill the detail in, and it just shows you how good that stuff is. Like I said in the video, I could have polished that to a high shine really easily, flat it with some micro mesh, give it a polish with our polishes, and it would have looked absolutely gleaming. But I thought, it's a toy car, I think that real high gloss might have looked a tad odd. It might not have, to be honest, but it is what it is. That's the way I chose to finish it. But it really did look good, and it's nice to see it wasn't too thick as well. The glass, I'm amazed how well that came up. Really came up really well. Very surprising. And the wheels, they were great as well. Nice addition for £5. Loads of different styles on eBay as well. So I'll be looking to buy those for my next one as well. So yeah, really enjoyed that. You are going to see more on the channel. There won't be loads of them. The whole channel will be taken over by diecast. But I will occasionally pick one. When we do the Capri next, I don't know. I'm going to have a look around and see where I can find it. I fancy doing like a Mark II Escort or something like that. We'll see. But there will be others. There definitely will be. I enjoyed doing that. It was good fun. And maybe it might spare a few other guys out there and girls to do one yourselves. You never know. So let me know what you thought in the comments. Any feedback or anything you'd like to add or say. And yeah, that's that. So there we go. Our first Matchbox refurb. So thanks for watching today. As always, check out International Scale Model Facebook page and forum, umpretail.com, where you can get a lot of the products I've used today. As always, there's a link in the description down below. It's the very first link of all the products I use in my videos. Click on that, you'll find them all in there. Check out the Live Dimension page for the live show every Friday, the Off Air Hangout group for our nightly or daily Off Air Hangouts, and my Paul ISM modelling page where all my modelling work is shared. Make sure you sub to the channel, leave a comment, thumbs up, click the bell notification. There we are. Thanks for watching today. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. Bye bye.